Mom and Daddy, you come in there, get on your knees in front of them and ask them to forgive you for the way you lived when you were a teenager. You see, I was way ahead of you. You teenagers now, getting all this drugs and stuff and all this fornicating and junk, you think you're really up with it. I was up with it for World War II. I'm talking about 1937. See, some of your mothers weren't born then. But I bought many a gray hair to my mom and daddy when I was a boy coming up. I'm my daddy down at the police station, boy, 2 o'clock in the morning. I mean, this kid, we caught him without a license. We caught this kid statutory kidnapping, bootlegging liquor before you knew what a hippie was, bud. And I mean, those cigarettes in the band I played in, they wrapped in brown paper in 1938. But you didn't know a joint from grass. And I caused my mom and daddy a many night anguish, brother, I'm sure. When I got saved, the first thing God dealt me about was go back home and get on your knees in front of your mom and daddy and ask them to forgive you for doing what you did. And I did. I got in that car and I drove from Pensacola. I drove all that day and all the next night and all the next day and crossed Chesapeake Bay, crossed that big bridge they built that in the meantime. When I was a boy, there wasn't any bridge. You had to take the ferry from Annapolis and go across that big bridge into Delaware and came up the coast and came to that little cottage on 19 Oak Avenue and came there and got on my knees in front of my mom and daddy with tears. I begged them to forgive me for what I'd done as an unsaved boy. And they forgave me. And then I was concerned about them, and I began to cry about the salvation. I asked them to please accept Christ and please get saved. When that happened, then they stiffened. I mean, they were willing to forgive me, for what I'd done as a young man, but they weren't willing to listen about Jesus Christ. And they got upset, and my dad said, well, Peter, you're just a little bit upset. You'll feel better in the morning. We'll let you see Johnny's doctor. He's been under doctor's treatment, and maybe you'll feel a bit better and that kind of thing, I made a mess of things. I don't have any sense. I was just a brand new Christian. And brand new Christians very seldom have any sense. And I made a mess of things. But, you love the Lord. You want to see people saved. All I knew was my mom and daddy were going to hell. I knew that. I didn't want them to go to hell. I knew that. And I was trying to get them saved, but I didn't know how to witness. I didn't know how to deal with them. I didn't have any wisdom. I made a mess of things, Well, I witnessed to them. Then I went away and went up to Bob Jones. I didn't see him again for 8 years. Now, after 8 years, I was back up there at Rehoboth Beach, Delaware, with him again. And that time when I got a hold of my dad, I turned him inside out, boy. I mean, after 8 years of dealing with Catholics and Jews and Buddhists and Taoists and absolutionists and relativists and Army colonels and Navy ensigns and black folks and yellow folks and brown folks and black folks and green folks, I mean, I knew how things went. I remember sitting my dad down there in the living room, got talking about his soul, and I said, now, Dad, I said, if you're not careful, the devil's going to get you. And he said, I don't believe in a devil. He was a consulting engineer in civilian life and a colonel in military life. He had an MIT from Boston, from Massachusetts Institute of Technology in Boston, a master's degree. And he said, I don't believe in a devil. So I don't believe there's such a thing as an opposing force to God in the universe. He said, why, if there's such a thing as an opposing force to God in the universe, he said, you couldn't count on the laws of the universe to hold together. For example, he said, you couldn't count on the strength, the tensile strength of steel when you're building a bridge. Now, I leaned over and tapped my dad on his knee, sitting opposite me, and I said, Dad, I said, the devil's not interested in the tensile strength of steel. He's interested in damning your soul. That old boy got up literally and ran literally out of that room just like he was shot. I mean, I shot him down. I hope it got to him before he died. My little girl Laura said to me a couple of years back, Laura said to me one day out in the garden when I was working, she said, Daddy, said, is your mama still alive? I said, no, honey, she's dead. And she said, well, was she saved? I said, no, she wasn't. And she said, well, Daddy, is she in hell? I said, if she died without Christ, she's in hell. And Laura said, well, is she burning right now? Yeah, they're deceived. They're educated, they're cultured, but they're deceived. And they're polite, they're civilized, and they got money, but they're deceived. You're sitting here tonight under some spell the devil's got you, you're good as in hell with the door shut and the key thrown away. If Satan wants you, he'll get you. You know your price, too. Some of you think more of your mama and your daddy and your aunts and your uncles and your kinfolk than you do that book. And I'll tell you something, that book says something and my wife says something else. That book is right and my wife's wrong. That book says one thing and my daddy says something else. That book is right and my daddy's wrong. And that book says one thing and I say something else, I'm wrong. But some of you don't have it, you don't value that book. You take it too lightly. My mom, she died with Christ, and oh, she is. She's in hell right now, and she's burning right now with Adolf Hitler and Jim Jones and a whole bunch of them. So what a thing to say about your mother. I know what some of you folks will do. To honor your mother, you'd spit in God's face, some of you Southerners. Amen, 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 and amen. I know your problem. You think I get any joy talking about that? You think I get a kind of a sadistic satisfaction saying my mom was in hell? Witnessed to her for 8 years, sent her tracts, prayed for her, tried to get her saved. Come back here, some of you fellows stand up at Christmas time and come back to your face all aglow and say, oh, well, almost Christmas, Brother Pete, led my mother to Christ. You think we preachers talk about hell? You think we get some kind of sadistic joy, you know, about talking people burning? I don't get nothing out of it, nothing at all. I'm not looking forward to the day at all I stamp the white throne judgment and see my mama come up with the filthy rags of her own self-righteousness and the brimstone steaming off, facing her last judgment, and depart you cursed in everlasting fire. I'm not looking forward to that. I'll be glad when that thing's over, brother. Folks say, well, don't be any tears in heaven. Yes, there will be for a while. You say, well, Jesus, don't give me that stuff. The Bible said Jesus wept. He, Son of God, wept over Jerusalem. Why? They wouldn't get saved. I don't get anything out of that stuff at all. I just know one thing. My mama was deceived. I was preaching out one time out in Pomona, California, Ray Balaam's church. Ray Balaam is an old Dutch Reformed boy. Got saved my meeting up there in Holland, Michigan. I've just read about a missionary in the field got saved up there, too. I can't think of his name now, a German boy. Went to Tennessee Temple, got saved in that meeting, too. He's in the field right now. Anyway, I was at that meeting right there, and right in the middle of that meeting, must have been about the fourth night of that meeting, I heard a scream, a shriek like a banshee. I looked out there in the middle of the aisle, and there was a girl there running down the aisle, about 70 years old. I mean, just waving a handkerchief and screaming at the top of her lungs. And I said to the preacher, I said, what is that? He said, well, you know that girl's mother? I said, no. He said, well, her mother's down there getting saved. And she said she'd been praying for her mama for 10 years, and her mother's down there getting saved right now. And I remember sitting up there looking down that thing, and I said, well, if you can't get your own mother saved, then maybe get somebody else's mama saved. But get them saved. I'm telling you, young people,